Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel here for another video. And today I want a discussion with you guys because a lot of the time I've been told this summer it's okay, we've already got our signing in midfield, it's Sergi Roberto, and that's what I want to discuss with you guys today because I want to know next season when it comes down to it, can Sergi Roberto step up and be our central midfield player that we've been craving for many years now since Xavi of course left us. And we need somebody who's going to come in, who's going to control the game, and it's going to be very important for us in that midfield position. Can Sergi Roberto step up this season? It's very unlikely now that he's going to be playing at right back in the coming campaign. Of course, we've signed Nelson Semedo, who's going to come in at that right back position and hopefully make it his own. So that leaves Roberto being a little bit of a utility player around the squad. He can play in a deeper midfield role. He can play in centre midfield as well as right back. But this season, can he sort of come in and make it his own? Because he is 25 years old now. He's made 95 league appearances in all for Barcelona, and he's now a Spanish international, 3 Spain caps to his name. Last season at the right back position he made 32 appearances, a very much an ever-present player, 8 Champions League appearances, and the important thing as well, 6 assists in that time in La Liga, 32 games and 6 assists from right back is a very decent return. He was very good down that right hand side, and I think of course at some stage, you know, we look at a game against PSG in the first leg, we look at other games in the league where it was against more difficult opposition, he was always going to be exposed defensively because let's face it, as well as he did there and as well as he tried to cope with the demands of that position, he's not a right back at the end of the day. Sergi Roberto plies his trade and has done for many years right throughout the Barcelona system, Barca B. He was very much a central midfield player, so his deficiencies at right back were always going to become apparent in the end, but he did very well to cover there while we were short. Of course we didn't sign well and that left us in the lurch there at right back, especially after Vidal's unfortunate injury. But what he did was he played well on the offensive. Going forward wasn't a problem for him. He's not the quickest player, or you wouldn't think that he's the quickest player, but often when I watch him he does cover the ground incredibly quickly, and the moment I'd like you to look at for that is the goal in the Clasico, the Lionel Messi dramatic winner at the Bernabeu last season. Look at the ground that Sergi Roberto makes up from right back. He picks up the ball and he is instantly into the opposition's half. And bearing in mind that this is the last few minutes of a game, but he's still got that energy, he's still got that drive. And that's what I love about him. He is a player that will give absolutely everything while he's on the pitch. He will give you 100% and more. Because as long as he can run, and boy he can run, he'll give everything. Of course in that midfield position though, we need somebody who can do more than just athleticism. And Sergi Roberto, in my opinion, is much more than that. He's not just a fast pair of legs, he's not just a big ball of energy. He has got the cleverness about him, he has got the technical vision to succeed in that midfield area. And the reason for that is, I've seen a few glimpses of it in the past in his performances. You might look at a game that I distinctly remember, for some reason I remember it. We were 1-0 down at home at the Camp Nou against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League, a group stage match under Luis Enrique of course. We were 1-0 down and the game changed when Sergi Roberto came off the bench. I remember distinctly, this is when we were without Lionel Messi, that was the time where he got injured, so we were without him for that period. Sergi Roberto came on and instead came into his midfield position and he changed the game. His energy was fantastic, his play in midfield, the way that he was willing to receive the ball, give it and then make a forward run was excellent. And we came on, he was 1-0 down, he found himself in the area unmarked, he scored to make it 1-1, and then I believe he got an assist and we went on to win it 2-1, Luis Suarez with the winning goal that time. Another example that I would give you for a very impressive midfield performance from Sergi Roberto would be the 4-0 demolition of Rafa Benitez's Real Madrid at the Bernabeu again. Sergi Roberto proving an outstanding player in that game. He played in midfield. That game we decided to go with a lot more players in midfield to outwit Benitez, and it certainly worked. And for the first goal, Roberto was an integral part of that. He made a great assist and a great pass to find Luis Suarez, who finished it off, and that was another example of Sergi Roberto growing in confidence in that midfield. And that is something that I would point out. You know, we've seen in the past Roberto in midfield. I would point out possibly the 4-0 loss against Valverde's Athletic at San Mamés in the Super Cup. You know, it was a bad day all around for everybody on the pitch. Roberto played in midfield that day and a lot of criticism did go his way. But what I would say is he's come a long way from that. And while you may say, well, he's not, played an awful lot of games more, he's not got a lot older, what he has got now is confidence. He believes that he belongs at a club like Barcelona. When he's played in the past and when he's got his chance in midfield, I'm not sure if deep down he believed that he belonged on this stage. Now, I think he's earned that. I think he's earned the trust of his teammates. I think he's earned the trust of us fans. And I really do think that in the season to come, I'm not saying that he's the answer to all our problems, but what I will say is he can be an outstanding player going into this season throughout our squad. Whether we need somebody just to fill in at different positions during different times, whether we need somebody to come off the bench and have a different impact, he can do that. But I do believe if he can get his chance in midfield, he may well surprise a few people, because what he has got is an awful lot of attributes in his locker. And one more thing I would add to that is the fact that his time at right back for me will not be a waste of time. He gained a lot of confidence from that. He played a lot of games. He was a lot of experience for him. He played in big Champions League matches, scoring some very, very big goals, of course. But what I will say about his time at right back is it'll help him in that midfield role. And the reasoning for that is on that right centre midfield position, and in fact either midfield position, either Iniesta's role or somebody like Rakitic's role, who's more, around the pitch, gets around the pitch. What I would say is they need to be awfully good, not only positioning wise, but they need to know what is behind them. And the reason for that is Lionel Messi and Neymar are both on the offensive wings, right wing, left wing. Because of who they are, because of what they give to the team in the attacking third, you don't often find them tracking back a great deal. They don't do an awful lot of defensive work between them. At least we try not to allow them to have to do that. We like them to be on the offensive at all times. And the reason for that is then the midfield has to work harder to cover in the full-back positions. Now, Sergi Roberto has played an awful lot at right back, so he will know exactly what the midfield should be doing, because I'm sure a lot of times last season, particularly in that game against PSG, when there was no cover, there was absolutely no cover on that right-hand side when he desperately needed it up against Julian Draxler, who was running at him non-stop. He will know where he needs to be and able to support his right back, which will likely be Semedo. He will know where he should be running, where he should be positioning himself, how often he should be getting back there, and all that experience at right back will help him in midfield when he needs to do his defensive duties. And I really, really think that he's become a more rounded player, a more confident player, and certainly a more useful player throughout our entire squad of the coming season. And I think that Valverde will take a long, hard look at Sergi Roberto and think there is definitely something here that I can include in a lot of first-team action, and certainly coming off the bench to make an impact in games when we need it. And I think Sergi Roberto has been overlooked this summer. I think we've been looking at the likes of Verratti and other midfield signings. We don't know what, sort of performances Andre Gomes is going to bring to the table in the coming season. The same could be said for Denis Suarez. But what we can judge from Sergi Roberto is, number one, that he's going to give absolutely everything every time he steps onto the pitch for Barcelona, and number two, he has learned and experienced an awful lot in the past season, which will definitely help him in the current season coming up. It'll help him, tactically, and it'll also help him on the pitch when he knows what he's supposed to be doing and when he can get a chance in that midfield role and make it his own. He's confident now. I think he'll take this opportunity, and I think we could be seeing an awful lot more of Sergi Roberto in the coming season. And I think that's great, because we have to remember he's from La Masia. He is definitely one of our own, and he's a player that has certainly waited a long time for this chance. He's a player that has certainly earned the chance to make a name for himself in his ideal position. And we've got to remember as well, guys, the likes of Xavi and Iniesta, two of the greatest players ever to witness, in my opinion, in the midfield positions, two of the greatest ever. They didn't really hit their peak. They didn't really start showing that true quality they had until they were in their sort of early 20s, 23, 24, 25. That's when you start getting the consistent performances from Iniesta, for example. He didn't really show that until, mid-20s. So you've got to give these guys time. You've got to give them the chances that they deserve. And then we'll judge Sergi Roberto when we've seen him in midfield, when we've given him a chance, when we've given him a run of games. And I certainly think whether in a role, this is a supporting role, or on a first-team basis, he can certainly be of use to Valverde in the coming season. So I'm very, very excited to see your thoughts, guys, because I've seen a lot of people throughout the summer saying, let's give Roberto a chance. Let's give him the opportunity. He can be our signing. Whether it'll be to that extent, I don't know. I still feel like we need to bring in somebody else in midfield just to help us out, to give that star quality, somebody who can control a game, dictate the tempo. But I still think in the season coming, Roberto will definitely have an impact one way or another. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. Like I said, I'm very, very interested to hear what you've got to say, because I do want a discussion on this, because I've seen a lot of people, wanting to see more of Roberto, and then I've seen some people as as well, saying, well, look, he's had his chance in the past, but he hasn't taken it. In my opinion, he's come on a long way since then, and certainly deserves an opportunity now in the coming season under Ernesto Valverde. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook if you ever want any more information, or if you simply want to suggest a video or ask me anything at all. So I'm always happy to talk on those platforms, guys. I will see you very, very soon. But until then, as always, Visca el Barça.